The Lakers blow a big lead as Luka Dončić struggles. They lose to Orlando and seem to be going backwards as the sprint to the playoffs begins. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how, where you get your podcasts. This one's always going to be free for you. You could be an Apple guy, Andy. You could be a Spotify guy. You could be one of the 37,000 plus subscribers to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel. But no matter how you're doing it, you're part of making the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network anywhere you're going to find podcasts. And probably some places you aren't even looking for them. I'm Brian Kamenetzky with Andy Kamenetzky, who covered the Lakers for nearly 20 years with the LA Times, with The Athletic, with ESPN. And this is one of those times, Andy, where you want to see your team starting to put the pieces together, making improvements, and seeming to get ready to peak at the right time. And in that spirit, Tuesday's 110-109 loss to the Magic was none of those things.
At best, you could say, based off the commentary from the last couple games, that the Lakers have identified the pieces that need to be put together. Like, they've all agreed upon, all right, these are said pieces. These are the things that need to be meshed together. So I guess in that sense, everyone seems to be in agreement. But
it's a nice way of looking at it.
But in terms of what they're supposed to do and how to go about doing it and finding any type of cohesion. I mean, it's funny, for all of the concerns about this team defensively and how on paper they do not profile to be a strong defensive team, it is the offense for the last few weeks that has been in the absolute crapper. Mm-hmm. And tonight was no exception. It was beyond a disjointed night offensively. It was frankly a weird night offensively between LeBron, Luka, and Austin, all for kind of different reasons and to varying effects. But if you were hoping that after the conversations following the Celtics loss about better ball movement and the search for more offensive cohesion between Luka, Austin, and LeBron, tonight did not put any of your concerns at ease in the slightest.
No, it was one of those nights where, Luka was a struggle for Luka all night. And we'll get to the final play of the game here in a second, which was highly unusual, we'll say. But Luka finished with 22 points, 8 of 24 from the field. He was 2 of 10 from three-point range. He was 4 of 9 from the free throw line. 9 rebounds and 15 assists.
That is a problem in a game where you lose by 1.
Like, it sure is.
Other than playmaking, and Luka's playmaking was at times exceptional in this game, 15 assists against 2 turnovers. Like, from a pure quarterbacking standpoint, Luka did a really good job. But from the perspective of generating his own offense, it was just a stark struggle right down to the final possession.
Yeah, and, so Luka hesitates if he missed the final play of the game. Lakers are down 1 with about 5.5 seconds left. They draw an out-of-bounds play for Luka to get a look. He actually had an open shot. It would have been a long three-pointer, but it was a clean, long three-pointer. He hesitated, didn't take the shot, passed to LeBron on the wing, and essentially put LeBron in jail. I mean, it was LeBron,
he dropped a grenade in LeBron's lap.
Right. He managed to get a 3 off, but it was a high degree of difficulty.
Anybody putting that final shot on LeChoke or what, like, you were not watching this game. Like, that was not on LeBron at all.
And no. And I see some people in the chat and all that asking, why did JJ draw up a 3-pointer? Why did he drop a shot for Luka? Why did he drop a 3-point? You got 5.5 seconds left. The goal is to get a clean look, and ideally from one of your shot makers. You had the ball in your hands of your, MVP candidate, and it was open. And you don't stop giving the ball to Luka Dončić because he's 2 of 10 from 3-point range. You don't try to draw up something for Rui, who by the way just airballed his last shot. Nobody on this chat would object to the idea of a play being drawn up for a cold shooting Kobe with 5 seconds left. Like, you give the ball to your best players and you try to get them to make a shot. If there are 3-pointers there, you take. If the jumper's there, you take it. You can put the ball on the floor, you take it. But you don't have a ton of time to play with. The goal is to get a clean shot. They did. Luka didn't take it. It was one of these nights.
He honestly, just to be frank, he kind of
froze. Yeah.
He really just hesitated and froze. And then you could see like the thought bubble over Luka's head, like, oh crap, I got to do something right now. and the decision was give the ball to LeBron in a horrible position. Like, it is very, very rare to see Luka make a decision like that.
It was very strange, but he did. And it was a night where he struggled on it. I think you looked up and down this box score and you're like, this had the potential to be one of those games, where the Lakers had multiple double-digit leads, which obviously went away. But you have this opportunity to take games where you're, at this point, I think you call them your 2 frontline players in Dončić and Reaves. LeBron was pretty good in this game, aside from a couple bad turnovers. Very strong early in the game. Had some big buckets late. He finished with 21.
He had a big defensive mistake down the stretch.
He did. I mean, I at the very least, it looked like his mistake.
I think it was his mistake on
the Lakers wandered off. They collapsed and helped off of leaving Desmond Bane open on a drive.
Yeah.
And LeBron tried to recover, which could mean it was his guy. I don't know if
it looked like it was. The way he reacted, like he thought it, if nothing else, was his responsibility at that point.
Right. And it may have been. And that
big
play
free throw too down the stretch. But LeBron, all in all, I actually thought played a pretty good game.
Yeah, I agree. And DeAndre Ayton, who we'll talk about before the end of the show, he was fantastic. His best game in a long time. 21 points, 13 rebounds. But this had the potential. We'll get back to LeBron too in a second, and the execution, which late game execution, which was a big issue for a team that had actually done that really well in fourth quarters all year. You build up these leads and you kind of stay ahead, and you look at it like, Luka's not having a good night. AR, who was very good in the second half, did not score in the first. So you're like, okay, Reaves wasn't very good early in the game. Luka's struggling all game. Orlando's getting a great night from Paolo Banchero and all this other stuff. And yet the Lakers have an opportunity to get kind of an imperfect win, grind something out, feel pretty good about the effort that you put into it. Because I agree with JJ, who said after the game, like, they played hard enough to win. This wasn't, the Boston game. This wasn't a game where they played with their food, I don't think, and rolled over. They played hard enough to win. I think the focus and the energy and the effort was there. They stopped executing, though, down the stretch. The offense got slower and slower and slower. There were so many, late clock forced shots and little mistakes, like you said, the overhelping and leaving Desmond Bane open, not securing an offensive rebound, which led to the Wendell Carter bucket that put them down by 1. Like, that kind of thing, just airballing a 3-pointer for Rui on a play that was designed and went to that's like his bread and butter shot. Yeah. He airballed it, like stuff like that.
There was also too, JJ may have been fine with the energy and effort in this game as far as them playing hard, but you look at Orlando getting 13 offensive rebounds for 15 second chance points, and 58 points in the paint. Like, there was, in particular in the first half, what really kept Orlando in the game was the offensive rebounds, the second chance points, and the points in the paint. And the Lakers didn't really do that much better in the second half. They cut down a bit of the second chance points, but they still allowed Orlando multiple possessions. They clearly allowed Orlando too much ownership of the paint and around the basket. And
it was not let's, after the break, let's talk a little bit about that and just the failure of execution, which had been a strength of this team, particularly in fourth quarters of close games, because this was a night of bad firsts for the Lakers, which we'll explain next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? If you have not, you really should go, because it is awesome. FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll be automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two, like flights, tickets, the whole nine. And if you're looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, it's a perfect time to lock it in. I love futures at this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your pick cash in, but it can also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future. Get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
So we'll touch on DeAndre Ayton before the end of this show. We'll get into some of the other things that happen in this, and what the Lakers have to look forward to. We're also going to do tomorrow's second show, the fourth segment, the mini show, the fast break, as somebody suggested, perhaps calling it. We still need
the Kamenetzky. Someone suggested, and I like that one a lot. The Kamenetzky,
because it uses our name.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever
about us,
called,
which is my favorite thing.
Yes, it could be. It'd be even better if it was just the Brian Extra, but I understand I have to share the.
No, that doesn't work at all.
It works for
multiple
me.
levels.
It works for me. It works for me.
No, that's just a narcissistic, terrible name.
Which is why, again, I said it works for me. But
you are a narcissist.
That's the point.
Okay.
Again, if you have to say the joke out loud, the stuff before the game, Lon Rosen talked about what the summer could look like and who's going to be in charge and what they're planning on doing. To say the least, it is going to be a busy summer for Rob Pelinka. So we will unpack that separately from this one, and I'm sure we'll continue talking about it over the course of the week. But this was a genuinely destructive loss for the team. It's not as disheartening in terms of how they played as the Boston game, but it's more, in my mind, it is more damaging because a home loss to a Celtics team that is kind of a bad matchup for you in terms of how they're, the amount of wing defenders they have and stuff. Boston's near the top of the Eastern Conference and has been for most of the year. They're a better team than Orlando. You come back from that and you lose this lead to the Magic, a lesser team and a sub 500 team on the road. This game damages you more than the Boston game, despite the fact that the Boston game, from an optics standpoint, was a colossal disaster.
Especially when you take into account that the Magic did not have Franz Wagner and they did not have Jalen Suggs. And you mentioned that perimeter defense and that physicality and toughness. Jalen Suggs is, I think, number one on the Magic when it comes to that. Maybe Jonathan Isaac in his own right. And, they got guys who can defend, but like Jalen Suggs is
one of the better defenders
in the league,
around the league. Yeah.
Right. And so the Lakers they had an opportunity in front of them against a Magic team that's down 2 important players and entered this game 4 games below 500 on the road. Like we talked about in the mini show for Tuesday how the Lakers were entering this critical stretch of games against teams either below 500 on the road or struggling like Orlando. On Thursday, they go to Phoenix that's taken on a Suns team that is missing several important players. Like, they need to cash in on this stretch. It is critical for keeping seeding in the playoffs, trying to avoid the play-in. Like, thankfully, they're 2.5 games ahead of Phoenix. And
right, Boston at least did the Lakers a solid on Tuesday by beating the Suns. But like, okay, so you don't lose any ground on Phoenix, but you miss an opportunity,
right? Exactly.
To put a gap between. So where if the Lakers win this game tonight, they gain a gain on Phoenix. You go into Phoenix on Thursday, and if you win that game, I think you're up by 4 at that point. You've
actually given your 4.5, something like that.
Right. You'd get. I think it would be 4 in the loss column, but I have to look it up. You're giving now. You got a real cushion. Like that could go away, but you've got a real cushion between yourself and a 7 seed if you have a 4-game lead with 20-something games to play, particularly like you say, Andy, given the fact that Phoenix is down a lot. They started on Tuesday, Royce O'Neal, Ryan Dunn, Mark Williams, Colin Gillespie, and Jalen Green.
Yeah. I mean, they don't have Devin. They're not going to have Devin Booker in this game. They're not going to have Dylan Brooks in this game. I don't think they're going to have Jordan Goodwin in this game. Grayson Allen is a question mark for Thursday. Last I looked, like the Lakers have an opportunity to get a new winning streak started, cash in at least on that singular opportunity. But it's just really important for them as a team that has struggled to beat the teams above 500 all season. I know Orlando is above 500, but they have been underperforming this season. And again, they are not a good road team. This is, I believe, the last game of a long road trip for them. Like, the Lakers, they not only miss out on this opportunity, but also in terms of, we've talked about building. Like, we described it as the equivalent of like a dress rehearsal, like in terms of really trying to build yourself into the best version of yourself as you get closer to the playoffs beginning. And like I mentioned, offensively, like the synergy between Luka, Austin, and LeBron, it is just non-existent. Like, you will see moments of it, but it just feels like the 3 of them are playing on 3 separate islands. And, we mentioned like LeBron had 21 points in this game. 10 of them came in the first quarter. And up until the 4th, LeBron seemed pretty quiet, not because he was playing badly, but more he just seemed kind of oddly uninvolved.
And that's what Austin in the first half was kind of like. He missed, I think he took 5 or 6 shots in the first half. They were actually not bad looks. This was not a question of Reaves not being able to get. He got into the paint for 3 or 4 of these.
I do think he and Luka, though, Luka and him both in the first half, and I think Luka maybe even a little bit beyond that. I think both of them were very much trying to draw whistles. And
that's where I was getting to that. Like, he got some clean looks, but particularly as the game went, and he just missed them, and that's going to happen. He got rolling a little bit in the second half, but like that's even when Luka managed to get good looks in the second half, even when Reaves, particularly down the stretch, managed to get the ball movement as the game went along, just stopped. I mean, there was, or if it was dribble 16 seconds, and then 2 or 3 passes to try to find something that worked. Like, in one of Luka's, best made shots in the second half was a last 10th of a second on the shot clock when Luke Kennard basically gave him a grenade because he had nowhere to go.
It doesn't matter at this point. I'm not 100% sure that shot really should have counted.
I don't know. It was so close.
Really close.
It was, but you put yourself with but Luke Kennard got the ball in a position with 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds left on the shot clock. I am a big fan big fan of what Kennard does for this team offensively. There 2 or 3 times a game, his gravity allows them to, he gets that ball in the corner with a little pump fake, puts the ball on the ground, and is able to zip that pass to the opposite corner to somebody for a wide open 3. It happens 2 or 3 times a game because he's a good ball handler. He's a very brisk passer, all that stuff. You can't hand the ball to a covered Luke Kennard with 3 or 4 seconds left on the shot clock and expect good things to happen. That's not a thing. That is not something. And so like this deliberate nature of what the Lakers were doing offensively as the game went along, particularly in the ball in the hands of Luka. And it was a game where he kind of pounded the bleep out of the ball on a lot of possessions. It puts people to sleep, including people on your own team. There were a couple times I thought they were going to win. Like I thought, Andy, when Jake LaRavia hit that fourth quarter 3, a big shot, for a guy who it just seems like hasn't hit a big shot in 6 weeks. When he took and made that shot about 3 or 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I was like, I think the Lakers are going to win this game. There were moments like that, but generally speaking, the whole thing came to a halt in the second half.
Yeah. And I mean, Paolo Banchero and then Desmond Bane really took over in the second half. Like Desmond Bane had struggled from outside from a lot of this game, but then he made up for lost time. Like Paolo Banchero was just really dominant. I mean, he was the best player on the floor, I think, over the course of this game.
For sure. No question.
And also taking into account that the Lakers not cashing in on opportunities in front of them. I realize Paolo Banchero is a really good player. I'm a big fan of Banchero. He's struggled a lot this season. Like this has been a largely down season for Banchero, and obviously great players find a way, or often do at least, but there was just so much put in
find a way against the Lakers.
Yeah, they certainly do. This is one that is, like you said, this one is going to sting in a lot of ways more than the Celtics loss. Like the Celtics loss, they got their asses handed to them more, and the Pat Riley of it all made it suck in certain ways, like emotionally even more.
It was again, optics of it were horrible.
But the optics of it were horrible. But that game from about halfway through the second quarter on, like basically once Marcus Smart and Austin Reaves got their techs, and it was very clear that the Lakers were on tilt, that game was not winnable. This was a winnable game for the Lakers that they really only have themselves to blame for. I mean, give Orlando credit for playing through it and making the adjustments that they did. And, again, Desmond Bane really turning it on when it mattered. But the Lakers blew this opportunity, and it's going to bother them, and it should.
There's so much stuff I want to get to. Like people, if you missed Tuesday's show, which we did, which is all about Austin Reaves and the summertime things, like we got some great comments about that on the YouTube page, and people commenting about the episode. Want to unpack some of that. We're going to get into what Rob Pelinka has to look forward to this summer. Apparently he is going to be the guy who not only engineers the rebuild of the roster, but the expansion of the front office this offseason. And so that is something that people are talking about. Next, though, on this show, as we continue talking about Tuesday's loss, we will get into the major bright spot of this game, which was DeAndre Ayton, and what maybe the Lakers might have found there, which they will need to carry forward. So we'll do that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you got to fill, it's still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, whether skills, experience, location, and so you're not just hoping the right candidate magically stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I'll be talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check the boxes, less stress, less time searching, more results. And when you need the right person to cut through the chaos, that is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Quick reminder about the Everydayer Club. If you're somebody who wants to have a little more interaction with other Locked On Lakers listeners and Locked On network hosts, you can go to the Discord channel. You get access to those things, both Locked On Lakers and other NBA Discord channels, by joining the Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month, $50 a year. Not only do you get the access to the Discord channels that Andy and I are in, talking to each other and are talking to other people who are coming in, other hosts, all that good stuff, carrying on the conversation. You also get the show ad-free, which we know for a lot of you is a preference. We do get your emails. So you go to lockedonlakers.supercast.com, or you can check out the show notes for more information about it. Again, $5 a month, $50 a year. If it's not for you, do nothing. Experience the show in the same way you always have. We will love you no matter how you take in the program. So Everydayer Club. It's just, there's like the part of this season that I think you can kind of look forward to is this question of like, okay, let's see, can they start to put stuff together? What could they look like in the first, as you get to the first round of the playoffs? If they build something over the last 20 plus games of the season, could they be that team that, okay, maybe you're not favored in a first round matchup against Minnesota or Houston or Denver or whatever, but like it's more than a puncher's chance that they could win. Each one of these games is supposed to be a step into that process. It's not a quick fix, but it's something where you feel like you're building toward that. If the only thing really that I can take from this game and say, okay, maybe that was part of it, was not just the work that DeAndre Ayton did, because, he had a couple little hook shots go in that had been missing and all that, but he was far more involved, I think, and confident in what they were doing in terms of the pick and roll, whether started by Luka, whether started by Austin. I think LeBron had a couple of those in there.
LeBron set him up for a couple lobs.
Yeah, for a couple lobs. Like, okay. Because if you go back to November when they had that 23-11 start and all these other things, that was not coincidentally when DeAndre Ayton was at his best. So figuring out how to get back to that spot, it at least stands to reason, could be part of how do you get to that place that I was just describing, where you are the best version of yourself.
Obviously, when you're playing at this level of basketball, like, it's not always as simple as just involve DeAndre Ayton, get him the ball. But to some degree, it is involve DeAndre Ayton, get him the ball. Like, he came up as a topic of practice, or topic during practice, topic of conversation. Marcus Smart and Rui were both asked about this adjustment that Ayton has to make from, being a guy that was picked number 1 overall and for a while was treated as a franchise cornerstone featured guy, showed up with the Lakers to be more of somewhere in between, one of the guys and a role player. He kind of occupies a bit of a space in between because he really is their only real post presence, unless you're just talking about posting up LeBron or occasionally posting up Luka. Like, it really is DeAndre.
He's the only scoring center.
Right. That's a good way of putting it. And like, Rui talked about how this can be a difficult adjustment. And he said, candidly, he thinks at times it's been difficult for DeAndre. And, he said, like, he had to adjust to a different role when he came to the Lakers. He thought that the adjustment has been a bit easier for him. But like noted at the same time, this is not easy. Marcus Smart said the same thing. Like, this is not easy to do. And JJ, in noting that DeAndre needs to make sure that he's always being proactive with his energy, like he pointed out a play against the Celtics where Jaylen Brown, I guess, had fallen down and the Lakers had a 5-on-4 advantage. But he said DeAndre did not react quickly enough. He said he reacted at basically 20% speed, and that blew the opportunity that they had in that possession. So he wasn't taking an onus away from Ayton, but at the same time, he said, we got to get him the ball. He's like, there's too many times where he has mismatches and we don't get him the ball. So that piece of this, like in terms of it being at times that simple, give the dude the ball. At times it really is that simple. Like there have been games where I've gone through Ayton's touches and they've been insanely low for a guy that's supposed to be at worst your fifth option, maybe your fourth. Like, he needs to be involved more. In this game, I thought they did a really good job of proactively involving him, and he made good on it.
It's one of those things too, where, at least it's a bit of an antidote to the stagnant nature. Now you can get stagnant running just, very predictable, just running a little pick and roll, just running like over and over again. Or you could just keep scoring.
Well, I mean, look, this is a team that is too pick and roll centric. With regardless of DeAndre Ayton, they can be too pick and roll centric.
But at least with Ayton, like the way when they get into a nice groove with these things, it at least you're involving somebody who's not one of your big three.
Sure,
because it is. I am not. You and I spent far too long talking about why Rui needed to come off the bench to say Rui shouldn't be coming off the bench. But we also said, even at the time, like when you put him on the bench, you're going to need to make sure you can find ways to make sure that he's still a big part of your offense. And that has been a challenge. Some of that's on Rui needing to be a little bit more aggressive. He hit 4 of his 7 shots. And this one, he did play 26 minutes. You'd want to see his shot volume go up a little bit. If he's going to be on the floor.
5 for 7. That open corner 3 that he airballed. Ooh, that one hurt.
That needed to go in.
That one hurt.
It's just, when you lose these games, the Lakers have not lost a game. I mean that in the most literal sense. They've won every game that they've led after 3 quarters. I think now that this is their second or third loss after, in clutch time or whatever. But in terms of games that they were ahead at the end of 3, I'm sure if you go back and you watch the tape on a lot of those other games that they won, you can find moments of execution where they, did the wrong thing or this, that, whatever. But like, this was one of those deals, like it was really noticeable. 3 or 4 mistakes that were just jump off the screen where you don't need to be, a 30-year college coach or NBA coach to notice that, oh, geez, why did they help off of Desmond Bane? Oh, man, guy, you have to get, you got to find a body with 7 seconds left in the game and the shot goes up. Everybody's got to box out. Like they teach you that in 4th grade. When you draw up the play, hit iron. The Lakers got lucky. They ended up getting the ball back on that play, but like that was a well executed play to get Rui Hachimura a corner 3, and he airballed it.
Yeah,
and
which is rare, man. That doesn't happen often.
It isn't. That's why they drew it up that way. Luka, who and Dan Wakey tweeted it out. Like Luka was asked about this obviously after the game, and he said, "I know I was open. I just thought it was a little too far." And then he hesitated. He looked to pass the ball, but it's like you drew up a play, and would you have liked it to be 10 feet closer? Sure. But that's a wide open 3 from a distance that Luka will take 2 or 3 of those a game anyway. You only got 5 seconds left. You got a clean look, and they didn't take the shot. It just 4, 5, 6 mistakes that are really obvious in the last 3 or 4 minutes of this game. And it's like, oh, there you go. Now you lose the game.
I mean, it was so out of character for Luka. Like you mentioned, he will take threes further than that, while more covered and frankly more irresponsible.
He's not shy. He's not
right.
shy.
Then that one, you wonder, and Luka is not a player who lacks for confidence. If this was a moment where the game that he was having and the struggles that he was having just for that one moment made him hesitate. And and you only have 3 to 4 moments. It's 5 seconds on the clock. You don't really have that long to think about anything. And again, it led to LeBron being put in an absolute no-win situation, and he lost.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get into for Wednesday afternoon this question of a very busy summer for Rob Pelinka. He's got a lot on his plate, and whether or not this is the right path for the Lakers. The Lakers obviously need to prepare to win a game on Thursday. Like, no messing around. Gotta win this game. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you're going to go hang out with over 37,000 subscribers to the channel. We'll see everyone next time.